हे हाय एवरीवन। सो अगेन पूर्णा के साथ है मैं। सो पूर्णा ने सिंस वी ऑल नो कि पूर्णा इज एट टिकटॉक राइट नाउ, बट सिंस in the journey of giving interviews, Purna also cleared Apple. So Purna, can you please explain the Apple process also? So वैसे ही सेम फॉर्मेट वैसे ही रखेंगे। पहले एक थोड़ा सा ओवरव्यू दे दो अबाउट द प्रोफाइल एंड कितने राउंड्स थे, क्या क्या थे, एंड देन फिर हम राउंड्स में डीप डाइव करेंगे।
Sure, sir. So, so Apple, so basically like same like TikTok. So companies like this, people keep on applying, people keep on getting rejects, but some team would like and they would go ahead with interviewing. So it like same happened with me also. Luckily, the team that I was in, one of our seniors from AIT, like Army Institute of Technology, was also working in the team. So she referred me to the team, and like that, I felt that was like one of the biggest point to get like interviews and all. So like that's an obvious advantage that you would have when you have such seniors. So coming to the interview process and all, the team was basically it was internal tool building team. So they built LLM based products for internal enterprise teams inside the Apple to basically monitor the sales for all the business insights, automating the process of business insight calculation. So mostly based on the information that I got from the interviewers, the work that they were doing mostly is text to SQL based LLM on their own databases, and getting those features in terms of Tableau, in terms of dashboards, like building dashboards, etc., automating the process of building dashboards, which would make work easy for business analysts, salespeople, so many people like that. So it was that was a team, and the role was machine learning engineer, and yeah, so that was it. So this was the role at Apple that I got interviewed for, and I also like got interviewed for a different role, which was on device computation role, which was also machine learning engineer, but I chose not to go ahead with that because I was reached out at the same point by two recruiters from Apple, and this happens with Apple because they do team wise hiring. They get they open roles based on team. They open they pick resumes based on team, and then once you get team matched, then they go ahead and schedule interviews, which is different from other companies like Amazon, Meta, etc. So yeah, this is basically like the whole process of the overview of my role at Apple. So yeah, I'll go ahead with like interview
Yeah.
process, how it went through, and what was the outcomes.
Cool. Yeah.
So yeah, so basically there were 5 rounds at Apple,
Mm-hmm.
and the first one was phone screen, uh, and I meant 5 rounds without recruiter calls and all. That's like
Achha.
pretty basic stuff about
Yeah, yeah,
they
yeah.
are about like small things. If you are okay to move stuff like that.
Hmm.
So after that, what they do is, because that's pretty much resume screened. So the first round is basically they asked me a few coding questions. I think I was asked like two coding questions,
Hmm.
and both were like I would say easy to medium in lead code. So they were like pretty basic two questions, because they asked two questions in 1 hour. The max hard toughness that you would probably face is medium, because you can't do two hard questions in one
Right.
hour, right? So that's an advantage. So it was pretty easy to kind of like crack that round of interviews. Generally phone screens for standard companies like coding interviews are comparatively easy than like with startups or etc. So yeah, so it was, and the question pattern was, I think, related to array manipulation, or mostly BFS DFS related questions.
Got it.
uh, those were the lead code questions for the first round.
Hmm.
So once the first round was done, I think Apple people were like pretty quick with this phone screen to technical rounds. So I think I got the results in around 3 to 4 days, and I went ahead with my complete on-site interview rounds,
Okay.
and those were four. Uh, so because
4 on-site on the same day.
yes, four on-site, yeah, four on-site were on same day. It was like
Okay.
continuous 4 hours.
And one more thing, in the coding round, so which programming language you prefer, Python or C++?
So I prefer Python.
Acha, okay.
But that's a very good question, sir. Because the first round the first, so I mentioned about getting two opportunities, right?
Right.
The first one was machine level coding and all. So they had C++. So I was asked to code in C++.
Oh,
So yeah, so so yeah, that was it. So you can because machine learning is a field where Python is not the only language where you
correct.
deploy
Mm.
stuff. So you could be expecting teams reach out to you to and ask you to code in Java or
Yeah,
Python
yeah,
or
but yeah,
C++,
yeah,
so
correct.
be
And I
prepared.
remember that was hardware related role. So C++ is much lighter and faster. So yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. Even
Mm.
at TikTok, also like the most of the infra work that we do is in C++. So
Okay.
like 50 to 40% of like model deployment code I write is in C++.
Okay.
So if you want to like add any feature, so we have to create an infrastructure to bring the feature closer to the model. So
Hmm.
so just if you are a machine learning engineer, you must be like really good at in any language, and you should be ready to learn anything. So that's it. And yeah, so coming to the on-site interviews, if you are okay, I'll move ahead
Yeah,
into
yeah, yeah, right. So after phone screening interview, so let's say that is round one. So then this will be round two, right?
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
So round two would be like 4 rounds on
Hmm.
a stretch. So out of which the first round was again coding, and it was of similar pattern, but the questions were a bit hard than what I faced in the phone screen. So, but the format of the questions were pretty similar, because this was the team that deals with text data, so text data, and the data structures that they would probably come up with are more like arrays, strings, etc. So most of the questions were around array manipulations, string manipulations, mostly maybe like using DFS BFS kind of backtracking kind of solutions to solve lead code problems. I would say the two questions were like medium, but as I said earlier, the questions would be in a way where you can discuss with the interviewer and come up with a solution, and then you can just like type those solutions.
Hmm.
So if you would do a lead code, if you would practice like lead code on regular basis, like till the point of interview, then it should be pretty good. You would probably like deal with these interviews. And
Hmm.
one more thing about Apple that I general information about Apple is they are like really good. They ask really good questions in terms of data structures. So I remember like once, I think with the same Apple interview, I was asked about try data structure, but this was like for internship. So they are really good with they ask a lot of questions around data structures. So if you are preparing for Apple interview, I would say like dive into all the data structures. So at that time I didn't even know try exists. So yeah,
Or
so
or is it the person who asks good questions? So let's say if the same interviewer is, let's say, in some other company and you face the same person, he might ask the same question, right?
no sir. Generally like the Apple,
They
even
have
if you
they
go
have a
and
particular database, yeah?
yeah. I mean, yeah. So every I feel every company has their own database.
Hmm.
Like meta database, I feel is pretty much all lead code top 50 meta asked questions.
Yeah.
And same like if you go into lead code tagged Apple questions, right?
Hmm.
So like I think top 50 have so many data structure related questions, right? So design a Twitter or Twitter, stuff like that. So which involves like so many data structures. So not so if you are machine learning engineer, generally we don't get asked so much of DP graphs, stuff like that. So
Hmm.
it's mostly like get your basics like so covered with lead code, don't focus so much on competitive programming. If you are like average at it, it's fine. So we can crack the interview if you are like well prepared. So that's it.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So this is the first round. So there was no, till now there was no machine learning, or probably there was like minute resume discussion, but there was not much machine learning or resume based questions till first round, first on-site round. So the second on-site round, because I already had two coding rounds, the second on-site round was focusing completely on machine learning part of things from my resume and hypothetical situations. So there I was asked, I was, so they dig deep into the projects that I did before joining, before interviewing at Apple, which were in my resume. So for these kind of interviews, they generally tend to catch the recent experience that we might have at that point. So because I was working at Whoop at that point, I think I remember like discussing about the same project, like even the last video that we had. It was basically workout auto classification project. So they dive deep into it, and they would make sure you actually know what you did, or every decision that you took. They tend to like quantify your thinking process, and if that is a good thought decision, or you're just telling that because the keyword is fancy, stuff like
Got
that.
it. Reasoning behind whatever you did.
Yes, reasoning behind whatever you did. So that's what is in general any resume screening rounds, right? So if you say I used a transformer, so that's and if say you're doing a classification and you say I use transformers, that could probably be like 99%, but you should also keep in mind the latency, stuff like that. So I would say don't people are not more attracted to the fancy terms. So even like basic fundamentals, if you are like really good at it, basically what I'm trying to say, that is also like very important, along with the width of the things. Depth is also like important in machine learning.
Yeah, correct.
So second round was mostly around my resume, and then some key components, like about some loss functions, optimizers, etc. And because it was around LLMs, so I also like they also asked me about how LLM works, what's the intuition behind LLMs, transformers, how can you reduce the memory of transformers, how would you optimize it, and they asked me what is RLHF mean. So these are basically like concepts behind LLM. And so this was like basic second on-site round about.
Second on-site round, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So if you don't have any questions, sir, I'll move to third.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. So for the third round, this round was I didn't get like much information about how would this round be, because this was hiring manager round. So this was hiring manager round. So generally hiring managers, the rounds they can go from A to Z. So the width of the task is like vast, right? So it turned out to be more of system design-ish and like problem solving kind of round. And the problem that I was asked was about basically like text to SQL. How would you solve? How would you build a LLM application that would convert basically a text to a SQL, and how would you solve it? So I was lucky because before interviewing at Apple, so the project that I was working at Whoop was so Whoop has this product called Whoop Coach. So which would basically like take in your personal information, basically the metrics that you have, like the metrics that are tracked, and basically create agents, and then we feed it to the LLM. So you can talk to an LLM as if the chatbot is some personalized coach. So if you would ask like, what do you think about my run yesterday? So it would give you, you could have like proper discussion about your physical thing.
Got it.
So I kind of worked on that. So I know the infrastructure behind like how LLM works and how LLMs are being productionized in companies. So that was one part, and along with that I also like, so there was one more team which works closer to us, who were working on building an chatbot internally, similar to what Apple was doing. So internally, in the sense of for salespeople to get the sales numbers, to churn out numbers, basically convert text to SQL. So I know like few, I have been through the presentations that they gave in the company, so I know how is this problem is solved. So
Correct.
because I also like got to know about the company and the team, so I read few online blogs about how these problems are being solved. And I remember Uber had published a tech blog, a company blog about this particular thing, and they kind of achieved like a really good accuracies with this.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, like I would say, so whenever you are interviewing for any system design rounds, along with preparing the format of system design interviews, also read as many tech blogs as possible.
Right.
So, I mean, tech blogs papers, of course, for machine learning theory, but tech blogs would give you a concept of, how things are, productionized in big tech, right? So that's how it is. So I read this Uber blog of how they built a chatbot internally for their sales people,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't remember exact points, but that seemed at that point that was like very intuitive. That like, so it was, so I kind of like went and gave this insights to the team itself. Like so I basically like started telling them, all the insights that I read from Uber tech blog or my own company, my experience with my own company. So it was
Mm-hmm.
like discussion around this problem. I think gave them idea that we could probably use an LLM agent that would quantify the quality of SQL, or measure something, stuff like that. Add multiple layers of verification, stuff like that. So it was like a very good discussion about the problem. So even I didn't even know how the time flew, like it was like 45 minutes or so. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so this was basically the third round.
सो द आइडिया वाज कि मतलब एक गुड लर्निंग फॉर एवरीवन इज, अरे यार जस्ट अ सेकंड, कहाँ पे थे हम लोग? सो हाँ, एक एक वेरी गुड लर्निंग कि इफ़ वी नो डिटेल अबाउट द जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन और द टीम, तो टेक ब्लॉग्स पढ़ के बस अपना डेटा सेट बढ़ा सकते हैं, अपना डेटाबेस बढ़ा सकते हैं, कि कहीं ना कहीं वो प्रॉब्लम का जो भी सॉल्यूशन होगा उसकी एटलीस्ट इंस्पिरेशन ले सकते हैं कि वॉट एवर वी हैव रेड, and we can
Yeah.
be a part of very insightful, thoughtful discussion.
Yeah. So this is not only just with Apple, but so generally, like I feel if whenever we get call, right, I think most of the people already do, like experienced people already know about this, but I probably didn't know about like this particular point while I was probably doing my undergrad days. So like whenever you get any call, right, whenever you get any interview, I would say it's very important to dig deep into what the team, uh, what the team is doing, and you should be in a point where you should understand why exactly did your resume got picked, so that you can actually use those points to advertise yourself in a better way.
Right.
So that's like a huge point. And I also like have this habit of like talking to team members, like trying to reach out to them in LinkedIn, and then see if they have any tech blogs or stuff like that, and then talk to them as much as possible, any one particular insight, and could
Correct.
could 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 lead to a better preparation. And
Right.
not just that, I think one more point is recruiters, they are like they play a huge hand in like getting you hired. So they tend to like give out information if you ask them right questions.
Right.
So they tend to like give out very good information. So they because they probably follow all the interviews that the team generally took. So they tend to give out what qualities that the team is looking for, what technologies that the team is looking for. So you can like start your preparation in that direction, because you are enough experienced. If you are enough experienced, you would know where to strike to kind of like make an impact to the interviewer who is interviewing you. So
So for viewers, can you give us a set of questions which might be helpful for them, which they can ask to recruiters?
yeah, I have pretty standard template. So I generally ask about. I send like so. Initially, when you get an interview call, recruiter sends you a couple of questions. So I reply them with the answers, but along with like few more questions like what does team generally do, and what are the technologies that the team is focusing on, and so if they have any built product on the market. Say for example, if I'm in the TikTok search team, if I'm interviewing for TikTok search team, I would go ahead and see what's like TikTok. Are there any tech blogs for the TikTok search team? And I would ask them for interview preparation material as well. So most of them do have, like big companies do have like material for like preparing for interviews. So they tend to send you that. I ask for that. And I think last one would be I would also like ask them if there is a possibility that I can set up some time, with any interviewer to get to understand more about the role. If the recruiter already don't know, so most of the recruiters are good with the role description. So they tend to like give you of what are the expectations. So yeah, these are basically the questions that I ask.
Good. Nice follow-up questions. फिर उसके बाद, so round 3 was with hiring manager,
Yes, sir.
and then there were discussions on some system designs.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the fourth round was pretty casual round. So it's like, I mean, I
Welcome
didn't
home.
even. Sir?
Welcome home.
Nice, sir. Like it was because that was like 4 hour stretch, right?
Yeah.
So they wouldn't know like what happened. So the first question that I was asked was, he asked me, how many friends do you have? Stuff like that.
Friends. Acha, okay.
Yeah, he's like, do you have how is your social life? And he's like, stuff like that. It's like very very normal. That was like very casual interview. And I think the option that he only gave me options like, do you have a bus full of friends or train full of friends, stuff like that. So I don't know what that was supposed to like gauge or quantify, but yeah, it was basically, it started on that note. So I think I kind of like classified it to probably be a very informal behavioral round, maybe.
Yeah.
So,
Team fit.
so he was asking me about situations that I faced during my. I mean, because he started in a friendly way, even I kind of went off track from my preparation of behavioral round as well. So it was like more of like a discussion with some mentor or something like that. So, but I would say like it's probably a behavioral round. So he asked me questions about situations that I faced in my previous company, or like in my experience till now, about any ambiguous situation, or when I had to take like proper calls and stand on it, and when I delivered, stuff like that. So I basically pretty much follow a star format, which most of you guys would probably be like familiar with. And I have like so basically what I do is, Amazon is really hard on behavioral questions. So there are like certain questions, like list of questions you would probably find online, probably like 40-50 behavioral questions, and I tend to like write answers for that. For my preparation, I made that list, I think during my master's time. And for all those 40 questions, I made up, I mean, from my own experience, I made like 10 stories. Say for example, I deployed something, I deployed something, it got delayed, so I kind of like wrote all those situations like together. And in my mind, I don't like by heart or remember anything, but if someone asks the question, I'm like at a point where I can scroll out of my 10 stories, and I can give out, and I can like modulate that story into that particular answer and give out in a certain
At
way.
least it means you try to make sure that these behavioral questions are not unseen data set.
Yeah. That's a huge problem because I mean this comes with experience of giving interviews because
Mm.
like in the initial I think the first interview that I gave after going into my masters was Amazon internship where I did so bad. So he was asking me behavioral questions and uh, he was asking me behavioral questions and I was like sorry. Yeah, so he was asking me behavioral questions and I was like blanked out thinking at that point what to tell. So
Mm.
don't be me. So so and yeah, so be prepared with like behavioral questions so it would be like very easy to, and because they tend to ask you like cross questions as well. They would ask you why did you take this particular decision over that particular decision, and it would be very hard if you aren't prepared. So
Mm. Right. Nice. So you cleared all the rounds.
yes
Then
sir.
फिर
So I
पैसों की
think
बात करते
yeah,
हैं.
sure.
So
So
give us a range or figure, ballpark figure.
yeah. So the exact numbers I can tell. That's so the base was around 170K.
Mm-hmm.
This is like pretty standard for any
Correct.
at that level at Apple, and uh, yeah. So it was. I think they started at on similar thing. I negotiated it to 170K, and then there is like standard. I think 7.5% bonus, year-end bonus, and there was 20. I think some 25K joining bonus,
Mm-hmm.
and also like 40K stocks per year. So it's like 160K for 4 years.
Hmm.
So these were like numbers for Apple. So yeah, when I got the offer.
Got it. Congratulations again for the offer.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for doing this. I hope जो भी लोग देख रहे हैं this interview experience लोगों को कुछ अच्छी motivation मिले. They got to know a lot of things, and I also when speak to people like you, I also learn a lot about various things. So आज के ब्लॉग में सबसे बड़ी लर्निंग कि टेक ब्लॉग्स देखते रहना चाहिए. I usually used to do that, but अभी बीच में हाल फिलहाल में मैंने काफी छोड़ रखा था, but I should
Yeah.
resume
So
that.
there is like a website which I can send you. Maybe like so where like all the tech blogs are listed in a same website, and there are also like filters for which concept that you want you can look at it, and it's like pretty updated. So whenever
Got
I'm
it.
like preparing for, I generally like put filters and I like read for every company. So there are like high possibilities that if the company that you are interviewing for also have their own tech blogs.
Got it.
So
And also
yeah.
send me those list of behavioral questions. At least I'll put it in description or comment.
Sure sir, I'll do that.
लोगों के लिए helpful होगा और क्या.
Mm.
So thank you so much again. I think it's late night there. Thank you so
Yeah,
much for taking out time and
no
doing this.
problem.
Thank you so much.